Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm assuming you're here because you want to be a sex machine or you want to turn, or you are already a sex machine. So you're kind of curious what's going on. Um, so that's kind of a little rude of me, but let me introduce myself. I'm Sindy V King. I'm a creator of Calling My King. I help transform women to create lasting love through Vedic astrology, neuroscience, and transactional analysis so that she becomes the queen of love. As you can tell, it's way late at night. I'm definitely wearing my kimono here. So I'm kind of wanting to do this video for a long time and I'm making an effort to do it. So if you're here for the 2.10 Yonī, and it's all about the sexual satisfaction, I'm going to explain a little bit more of it. So there is a version 1 of it. So it's important for you to kind of go back to the other PowerPoint and watch that. I'll definitely link it up here right now. So you want to watch that before you want to watch this one. And let's get right into it. This is about the sexual satisfaction. Number one, I think it's important for female orgasm, right? That's why you're here. And if you're a guy, that's cool. You're welcome. And number two, it's all about sexual satisfaction because not because you want to be a machine, a sex machine, or it's because you're in lockdown and this made you to come here. But if you're curious about yonis and all the hype, you're here for a right reason. But if you want to improve beside doing starfish position or having your partner in the starfish position, that's another, then this is a good PowerPoint for you. On Tinder, if you're on Tinder and you're wondering if ice cream is actually better than the person that's worth your time, that could be a possibility too. That's a good reason why you should be here. And if you're tired of bad sex, I get this question quite a bit with my client. This is the reason why I'm doing this. They consider it to be a deal breaker. I'll explain why it's not a deal breaker. And then we're going to be talking about the primal animal experience. Maybe if you think you have high libido, maybe. If you have low libido, I'm going to tell you what the remedy could be. And I will, this is what I will promise you. I will cover the 14 yonis. That's my promise for you, that I will do the 14 yonis here. I want to expand about it, the intimacy. If you watch my last video and you follow through the version 1, yoni is, it does represent the woman's private parts. And I'm feeling a little bit lovesick right now because I don't have ginger beer and I ran out. So I'm hoping I have the energy to do this and just keep going. But I will take I have a tip jar at the bottom of the description. So you're more than welcome to tip me on down there under the description. If I've been busy for this year, this is the reason why I'm doing this now and in this sort of situation. And I think it's a good way to kicks this year off as well. So that's why I'm doing this. You're more than welcome to timestamp this, but I think it's important to go with the first part so you have a better understanding. And we talked about the female organ is the yoni. That's what it represents. The male organ, it actually represents, it's called the ligma. Ligma. That's in Sanskrit. And it's nighttime, so it's called Nikti. So I also put in the international alphabet of the Sanskrit translation as well. I did my best just because if you are a Westerner, you're trying to pronounce a lot of these words. I know when I first started, it was very frustrating. So I also put it in there. I'm really proud of this work. So hands off to me. If you are an expert in Sanskrit and I did something wrong, mess up my street credit here. So I kind of want to impress the Western here. So Western meets the Eastern. Here we go. So a little bit of housekeeping here, what to expect here. So this is my experience. So this is my experiment. So for those who think that they're a yoni expert, they're on their own turf. This is what I have discovered, and this is what I've been taught and accumulate. There's a video about that. You're more than welcome to watch that. This is my house and this is my club and this is my occult. So you're more than welcome to stay here as you please. If you don't like what I say, that's okay as well. You have every right to own your opinion. Yeah, so the reason why I'm doing this, obviously, because my clients beg me to do this. One thing that you want to know is you need to know your moon sign. All right. So your moon, your Mars, and your Venus position. So I want you to focus on that, about those planet. Don't focus on the planet character wise. Focus on like what does it mean and how it works. So I already explained that the yonis also represent not only the woman's part or her organ, her private organ. It's about how satisfied you are, right? So she doesn't need to go and have a libido bike afterwards or a pint of ice cream. You know what I mean? I know in the Kuta compatibility, it is score out of 4. So those who are interested in the whole sex thing, it's only score out of 4. I'm not saying that India doesn't know anything about sex. That's absolutely not true. They invented the Tantra, Karma Sutra. So just keep that in mind. There's a reason why it's score in 4, especially in a romantic relationship. Sex is not all thing and be all thing. So just know that. Okay. So have that in the back of your mind. Part two, I really want to talk about is actually the yoni really represent the animal primal instinct. So I like to see the animal primal instinct that is unfiltered. We get to see that when couples are in fight and they're in their hyperarousal, so they're outside of the window of tolerance. Kids do not have filter when they're expressing their anger, their scare, their fear. They have no shame of their emotions at all. There are people who are shame. That's another important part about it, especially when it comes to their emotions. So there's a lot of suppression, and they're probably in my trauma playlist right now. And so they're working their way up to here, where we're talking about our primal instinct. You're here is because you're pretty much comfortable with it, or you want to discover a little bit more. That's why you clicked on this video. I got a video on that about window tolerance and the primal instinct and Fairmont. I have all those science stuff, so feel free to binge watch those as well. And if you are experiencing maybe low libido or high libido energy and you need to move that energy, I would give you some recommendation, but just know that this is just one pillar. It's not going to solve all the issue because there's other factors are involved. So I just want to make sure that you're aware of that if I'm suggesting some sort of fitness activity, it's because it's you need to move that energy either up into that energy or lower the energy and however you kind of like it as needed. And it's not you have to do this. Does that make sense? It's not a prescription here. We talked about the raw animal instinct already. Actually, I literally like watching kids play because that's when you really see the raw animal out of them and they really demonstrate it really well. So much for my parenting skills here. But yeah, you don't want to play with your little brother, Mr. Tiger, because you're Mrs. Rabbit and he's going to pounce on you and you need to learn how to run really fast. Or when he's around the corner, you know that he's about to sneak behind you. You better run really, really quick. Fake parenting skills like, let's pretend, even though you're a rabbit, let's pretend that we're tigers. It doesn't work that way. And same thing with romantic relationship, but you can't really fake your animal parts. And it really shows up quite well. And it really shows up on first dates. You can see it as well if you're going through like if you're like extreme adrenaline junkie, you can definitely it will show up in that area. It will definitely show up, especially if you're going on a date. Dirt biking, yeah, that could be a little bit scary. Or maybe leaving your house at this stage in life, right? Who knows? So you can see those arousal that comes out of it. That's what I'm trying to say here. I talk about who's is the best match in this as well. So you're gonna find out the best match, and that's always the same cast. Period. If you're gonna like fool around with other casts, that's your own term. But they have figured out that this is the best match out of all of them. And I'll tell you the worst ones that you want to avoid as well. The reason why I'm going to make this is as well, I want you to contribute to the discussion as well. And this is how you can do it. I also want you to share your experience if you're comfortable, obviously. And you have to tell me either your degree, the planet that you're matching up with. It could be a Venus or a Mars Or moon, what are you matching up with the other person? And I want to see what those outcomes. Just a quick reminder, moon represent how we make our decision and how we feel. And those are just experience. And Mars is the action, which is our primal animal instinct that has no leash on it. So when you launch, that's it. That's the action part of it. The Venus part obviously is going to be how you show up, what you crave, what you desire, what you are attracted to. I also want to rule out the whole idea of monogamy or not, but just because we're playing with the whole idea is we're not being monogamous at this point. That will be a separate video I might make in the future if that's something that you guys are interested in. But for now, this is it. The next slide I want to show you is the mantras. So this is the mantras, and the mantra really shows up here. You can, if you're into mantras, that's cool. If you're not, that's also cool as well. It's no guarantee if it works. If it does work, well, I want street credit for it. So here it is. You can go to that website and you can do this mantra to help out with your Yonī. There's a nice descriptions under there as well. And that's the website up here. All right, so this is a table I have condensed. I'm really proud of this table so far. Let me quickly clear some of my markings here. And specifically, it just talks about the masculine and the feminine, and that's the video that I talk about. I have included the word anima and animas, and that's just the same thing as masculine and feminine, just in Latin, right? I almost can include, I should include French here if I wanted to, but I didn't. Yeah, so we're going to go through each individual one, so you're more than welcome to have a look at it. Anything with the stars here, if you guys can see this, maybe I'll do a hearts here. Anything with the hearts here, I noticed this is what I've been told from my teacher, also in text as well, that it could be swapped either from anima and animas. So maybe play around with it and let me know if you're more receptive, if you're a chitra than animas, unless you're an animas. Do you like to initiate? I find that already a tiger on its own, as a tiger, I think you're already wanting an initiate anyway, so you're in the doing mode. The same thing with a dog as well. Like I barely see any passive dogs just to hang out there. So that's just what I have noticed as well. So I could be completely wrong, but this is what we're going to go through. So let's dive right into it. For example, Ashwini is one of them, is considered to be light and swift. Pusha is another one, is light and swift. Hasta is also nice and light and swift as well. So you just want to make sure that you keep those in mind. And movables are like Purvashar, Swati, Dhanishta, Savadisha is another one. And then another soft one is Chitra, Ardra, Rivdi, Miragira as well. And fierce is Bernie, Maga, all the P's, those P long words. Purvadpada is another one. And then Pur Ashada is another one. And then what's the other one? Was the B one? Oh, I already said that. Okay, it's right here. So those are the ones that you want to consider as be as soft as swift. The fierce, yeah, sorry, we talked about the fierce one. And the mixture is like Kritika, Vishraha is another one. That's a mixed one. So when they say mix, it's like, oh, it's like in between softer and hard. Fixed one is Rohini. Anything with the word that has you in it is also part of the fix. So here, this guy right here, anything with the word starts with a U in there is part of it as well. And then we go into the hard and sharp, Ardra, Asheda, and Shanishta and Mula is part of it as well. All right, so let's carry on from the next slide. So now we're going to break it down individually. So first off, we're in the horse and horse yonis. There's two of them. So this one is feminine and masculine. I find that for Mars, if you have low libido exercise wise, you can always kind of beat it up. The reason why I'm doing the whole fitness thing, because I'm an athlete myself. I'm right now sitting with a heating pad. I have an injury that I'm kind of out for at the moment. So really when it comes to the horse, it really likes speed. It wants to run and it wants to see over the hill and it has to be elevated and and it wants like to be in groups. So anything, like it could be like a running group, it would be a really great one. It could be a walking group is another one, but it could be a hiking group. It could be like an uphill hiker, or it could be somebody's like climbing up the hill. That would be like doing a chief. I don't know if you guys know where the chief is. That's one of them as well. That's part of in Canada, by the way. Um, this is definitely the no buffalo club. So this what it means is you're just not compatible. It's just because either you can't keep up or you're too big and you're too bulky and the temperament is not there. So Ashwini is the masculine, and it really likes when it comes to like tapping into that energy force. If you're trying to seduce one, it really likes to, or ideas for dates maybe. Speed, travel, loves the cars, really role plays on the hero character, quest, and adventurous, even illusion of quest or going to any after fantasy, anything of like that. You guys can totally role play in the bedroom of that like a hero character, sure. Why don't you do Mario or whatever, whatever they're into, and play along with that. I'm pretty sure they would be so excited for that. I don't think the bedroom is only just like pound down, thank you, ma'am, kind of thing. I don't think it needs to be that way. All right, so Sababisha, so that's like really likes water or near the oceans. Unless they have a Mars there, maybe they are fear of water, and that might be not a good thing. But I think I noticed that, yeah, if you're like walking on a beach romantically, making out next to the beach, and maybe doing it in the bathtub together, or doing a hot tub, why not? It's make it a little bit more romantic before we kind of, yeah, chow down. So I think that's where the sexual compatibility is. So we know that these two go together well, right? So you guys just have to mixture, maybe go from the hot tub, maybe go from a character playing quest to adventurous into like an ocean, I don't know, saving the ocean or in her saving in the water or anything like that. I don't know. You can play around with it. Just be really creative in this area because they're compatible together. All right, let's talk about the elephant. So the elephant is this is definitely is a no lions club. So what I mean by that, they're just not compatible with the lions. And if you guys kind of go through the slide, as I go through the slide, you understand why. All right. If you want to activate your Mars, which is your masculine side, weight is a really good one. Heavy lifting is another one. Body rhythmic. It's like some sort of a circus will work really well as well. I find that really is amazing for the body. So, along there is some sort of like movement with the body or arching of the body. That would be good as well with weights. Obviously, I'm trying to incorporate this as a workout couple kind of thing. All right, so let's talk about Rivity. Rivity is about loves of animal. So if you start acting like a helpless animal and you start weeping, honestly, Rivity will be coming there and say, I will save you and I will nurture you and I want to help you. So if you play in that style, they really like the glitter style, the divine, and they're really into that. Even artificial, they're into that too. I think that's really important as well. And when we come down to what we call Barney, and Barney is about like power to remove. So they are really, if you're into the whole, like, I don't know if you know the story about Yama and Yami. Anyways, you don't need to know the story, but it just simply says that um, dazzle and in distress. They really like oral sex, by the way. So if you're into that, that will be it for them. So oral sex is for Barney people out there if you're kind of wanting to do something like that. Definitely is considered to be a nurturing figure in that way. So yeah. And I think I talk about Verity about foot fetish, right? They might have a foot fetish thing. So play it out, see what you can do with it. Go from playing an animal, a helpless animal, to like foot fetish to like oral. That would be a great thing. So that's what I kind of see for both of them. And yeah, let's move on to the next one. All right, we talk about the sheep, and the sheep is about the goat. So this is definitely no monkey club here. So definitely not compatible with the monkeys here. You want to activate those Mars, that masculine side and your libido side. Hiking is a really good one. Walking, being on the grass, and like doing group activities and group stuff. I think a lot of the fitness now are outdoors these days, but yeah, that's something that you can try it out and see how that works for your libido and see if it actually activate or release it in any way. So um Critica is really, they're really into good food. So you can go from the kitchen to the bedroom. You can do the hot candle waxing, right? It also represents the fire and heat and stuff. They're definitely might be into threesomes, so see if they're into that. Um, and Pusha is really likes flowers. Pusha also represent breasts, so maybe touching them in the breast, maybe put your mouth around it, things like that. You can These two are really good from the kitchen to the bedroom, both of them. So that's how you kind of kink it up and spice it up there. All right, let's talk about the snake. The snake is definitely they're not into the mongoose club, so EXO on that one. Definitely when it comes to Mars, you want to activate that flow yoga, breath yoga, anything that has deep breathing, vinyasa yoga, like anything that's flow is really important. Swimming is really a good one too. That's also technically with for breath. Rhythmic gymnastic is a great one too. Rohini is talks about art of dance, bed like rose with on the bed all over the place. That's what they're really into. Luxury stuff. So make sure your place is nice and neat. They're really into their senses, right? And they're very sexual, by the way, and they're really into power of attraction, so power status. So they like the whole idea of mama's boy and or daddy's girl. So if you want to play up in that in the bedroom, that's pretty cool. Okay, so another one is Migra Shira Sa. So, and they're into plants and they're into tantra sex as well. Loves the good play or plans and stuff like that or maps. So they're not if they're not really good at organizing it, you do it for them. And if they're into making plans, you know that they can go and make good plans for you guys, things to do. So you don't have to stress over that. So it got to make them feel safe and they don't need to feel creeped out. It's really important. So need to move in and like, yeah, so don't creep out on them. So that's the big deal. And all right, let's talk about the dog. And the dog is really, when we look at it, this is a no deer. Mars is going to play here like a football, this group. So I would say playing is a really good one, like playing together. It could be a frisbee, it could be a ball catching. It's just playing together, being like playful together. Flag football is a really good one. Anything in the group setting is really cool for these two individuals. So Mula is a very sexual, yes. And you can be in this whole play of mastery and servant. Definitely that could be part of it. They have this little thing, maybe tell me, they have a negative love. So touching is really sensitive for them, getting deep into that root. So it could be like a knot or a muscle. So there's a lot of tension in their body. So that really turns them on if you have that, where the pressure points are. All right. Ardra is might make a lot of loud sounds in the bedroom. And clothes will be flying off on these people, and they're totally cool with it. Angry, yes, and sex is deep emotion because they fear of being alone. So if they start crying and then they start making out with you and they want more than that, that's just part of Ardra's little archetype. Here we have the cat, and the cat is represent no rats allowed club here. Kind of makes sense, right? This is really kind of surprising me in most some of the case. A lot of these archetypes, and you notice that they're really into, or they're like really like deep and very strong, and they come off with these yonis that are like soft. So that's the opposite of anima animus, right? That's the opposite of it. So I don't know if you notice that, and maybe just kind of keep watching as you kind of go through this. You want to activate the Mars, the libido part of it, or decreasing it, jumping, climbing over things. Tough Mudder might be one of them. Box jumping, any sort of circus or recreational sport, indoor or outdoor, kind of works for these two individual here. Puna Vasu. So this is speaking nerdy to them in tech language. That turns them on. And very skillful with their hands, and maybe like hand kissing or hand like touching or strokes or something like that would be very uh, cool for them. Expect dirty texts. So they're very analytical. So in the brain and stuff like that. So if you can do dirty text, that's how you get them going as well. Ashlesha, so that's better. It's all about, they're into herbs, so you better be into herbs. Um, they want to drink, maybe some seduction image, big on teasing, love being teased. So kind of these two kind of go hand in hand on this one, and you can totally see it as well. So we're moving on to the rats here. This is a rat, and this is no cats allowed, obviously, club here. And the Mars is when you want to activate the Mars or libido. A really interesting one is escape room, laser tag, volleyball, or even dodgeball. I noticed that they really kind of engage in this area. Purna Faguni. So this is lying around in the bed, and spooning is really good. Just staying at home, just like they really like anything that's cutting edge art, and they're totally into that stuff. So if you walk into their house, that's what you're going to be noticing. So, or you have a really cool structure art there, that would be a good strong statement of connection. Maga is love histories and antiques things, and they're into fictions and movies. So you can have movie nights, and they have a trophy room as well. So they can probably show you around the house and the place, and probably seduce you in their trophy room as well. No surprise on that one. So, and they're all about my house or your house. So they're all about like trying to be fair and equal. So don't be surprised if like on the date they pay and they kind of expect you to pay the next one. So if you're kind of into that, that's totally cool. So here we're going to be talking about the cow and the cow Yoni. And this is actually where no tigers are allowed a club here. And this is really talks about if you want to activate your Mars in this way. I think just being in the field is really important to them, and a gathering of people. So if you're into that, That's great. You can play soccer together. That will be a great sport for them to kind of go out and connect with people. And these people are all really about connecting with people. So even both of them, when I'm kind of looking at this, we can start off with Uttara Paguni, and this is all about where the Romeo and Juliet story. So they like being loved or the idea of love, and that what really drives them. So if you guys can like sort of be passion and be like in poetry wise, I think that's a really good way to start. They're very similar to Purva Faguni. They're very similar to that. Uchapada is a really interesting one where, oh, this is all about the spiritual connection of the world. So really think about the soulmate and really being spiritually connected is really ideal for these people. I find that they really run into the whole idea of like wanting to be like connected beyond death. So if you're kind of into that kind of thing and have that sort of discussion, they're very talkative. So by all means, like have that spiritual connection, have that conversation, what's meaning life after death or love after death or forever love kind of thing. So I kind of like these two because they're like vampy lovers. That's what I think. All right, now we're moving into the buffalo. And the buffalo really talks about wanting to connect with the breath. Big breath here. Okay. This is no horse club here. Definitely they're not compatible with horse. They can hold the idea of looking beyond the hills and stuff like that. So I noticed like skis is a really good one. Paddle boarding is another one. Anything that really flows with the breath. I like vinyasa yoga for this one. Golf is another good one because when you swing, exhale on exertion. Yes, into the whole fitness stuff. Hasta is the feminine anima for this archetype, and you feel like you don't really people are connected with their hands a lot of the time is really important to them. So touching their hand is really key. That really changes energy. Very clever at language. They're really into that. They think that's really hot and sexy. Being funny is another one. They are playing the whole idea of being innocent, playing nice as well. So just kind of keep in mind on that innocent part of it is like, oh, you don't get naked. Oh, I never get naked on the first date. Anything sort of like in that sort of line, yes, that's hasta, surprisingly, right? Swati is about playing with the imaginary, allow them have any sort of imaginary travels, especially if we can't travel. You can all be like, what is it like to travel here? Can you pull up an image? And that really makes them like really tap into their senses. So when it comes to the body, it's about getting out of your head, getting back into the body. So the Swati has that problem. It's like getting out of their head back into their body. So it really helps them if you're like really into music or art, and that kind of gives them in the feeling part of it. And that's why I'm kind of stressing them over about this. Some of these archetypes are just not straight on like, let's get naked, let's do it. They're just not in, some of them are just not into that. They got a lot of fear, scary situations. So try to be the hero part of it and just help them ground them with imageries and stuff like that we talked about, or even music and playing music, making sure the space is organized. It's just really about all their senses. As you can tell about like both of these archetypes, it's appealing their senses, right? Touching, it's definitely them. It's like, oh, making funny jokes, get them out of their head, make them laugh, get them out of their own thoughts. See that. All right. The tiger is Yoni here. This is in the No Cows Allow Club. And when you activate their Mars, or if you need to activate your libidos here, endurance, martial art, it's a good one. Aerial yoga is another one. Partner yoga is a good one as well. Chitra has to talk about they love private, VIP, like exclusive, like especially if they're introverted, the more introverted, the more privacy they need. So if you kiss them out in public, like, it's a deal breaker for them already, right? So you want to make sure that you're in a private place, somewhere beautiful, very colorful, very comfortable. Love arts, big on arts here, art lovers here. Okay, that's what I want to stress out here. Vishaka wants to be the best lover. They crave for intimacy here. They crave for intensity as well. So if you're into the whole argument stuff, that's what they want to know, that you're just equally as passionate about the relationship. So just be ready that they want to hear like your roar. That's what it is. It's your roar. When it comes to the deer here, and this is definitely a no dogs allowed club here. And when we activate the Mars, which is a libido part of it, you can do things like snowshoeing, running in the field, or hiking in the forest in a group setting. That's totally cool as well for them. And Horada, and that's got to be the friends. You got to be friends first to make them, give them some time. They really need to work into it and like build onto it. So that's really key for them. Eye contacts is really important for these people. So when you're kissing them, maybe make an eye contact before you go for it. Really passionate about it. So yeah, and nice and slow with these ones, okay? So no rush here. Janishta is about risk. So they're a risk taker. They're actually a gambler. They like the whole idea of like adventurous. So they like the whole idea of being a hero too. And they're very sensitive in the ear. So maybe kissing them on the ear can start it off with and go from there. So now we're moving on to the monkey. And the monkey has to be no sheep or goat allow on this one. And I find that Mars, that activate the Mars here, pole dancing, why not? Ice skating, sure, why not? Walking, cool. Bike hiking, cool. Zip lining, cool. That's all cool. All right, so the Sharvana is tries the ear kissing, could be a good one, whispering in their ear. So they like love letters. The idea of soulmate is pretty cool for them. So you can write her love letter or their soulmates. And then we're going to move on the Purva Ashara, and its urges has a lot of huge urge and it has a big sex appetite here. Not a big talker, so just tell them what you want, and they're gonna either be cool with it, and they're not into the drama thing. They're drama free, and they're about living here and the now. So if it's happening in the back alley or the bathroom, they're gonna be cool about it, and they're the lion. So this is no elephants allowed here. So definitely when it comes to activating their Mars here, the whole idea of like sounds is really cool when you're activating these, like a drum circle or dancing or singing, those things with rhythm, beats, and all that activation that's happening into the body. Yes, that's that's really important. Denisha, you want to play with the whole idea of like maybe singing together is really romantic, or being having a luxury environment is really big. Not good with the opposite with sex. So they're not always like good at smoothing per se, but they like the idea of like learning about it, maybe reprogramming the idea of what the opposite sex is like. So yeah, have that probably discussion. Um, para is foot rubbing. Yes, that would be get them started. Even dancing around the fire, just feeling free. It's a really good one. You guys can do that naked in the summer if you like, around the fireplace. And yeah, just be really free spirit. And the last one is the mongoose. And the mongoose is a masculine animals. And it's the one, it's no snakes are allowed here. And it's definitely into the whole outdoor activity, group activities. They're all about social gatherings as well as individual. So just tell them what you want. No funny business. They're cool and collective. That's these guys are the only one that doesn't have a partner. So they have other options out there. So we did it. We made it. We made it through the whole Yoni part. So I love to hear what your experience about Yoni, and if you're kind of trying to try it out, that's totally cool as well. I have other videos that you can binge watch, so feel free. The tip jar is still down below. Always like to buy another ginger beer. Why not? If we're going to do this, and yeah. So I'm excited, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.